Right, let's get straight into it. Morocco versus Croatia. Ended 0-0. Before this game even started, we probably had ideas and feelings that Croatia might have been the favourites to win. Now, Morocco, for a while, have been one of the more better teams in African football, qualifying for the last World Cup and doing all right. But people probably had their eye on Croatia, maybe being the slight favourites, as, they came into this being, the runners-up from the last campaign in the World Cup. And still, having quality players like Roderick and Perisic, although they are at the latter end of their careers. Obviously, the game ended up being a lot more evenly balanced than maybe many people realised. Definitely caught me by surprise. But it does make sense. Morocco are a very organised, very solid team, and they showed that today against Croatia, who also looked very organised. They've always been organised, Croatia, and very well disciplined. Morocco had the better of the chances in the first half, and Croatia grew more into the game in the second half and became slightly the more dominant team. But overall, the defences cancelled each other out. The discipline and organisation of both sides pretty much won the game. Pretty much won over in terms of the performances between the two. So all in all, a game that maybe didn't do too much to inspire, but a building block for these two sides. Moving on to the Germany-Japan game. Wow. Who would have thought we would have seen what we probably have just seen? It ended Germany 1, Japan 2. Japan looked at Saudi Arabia's playbook against Argentina and thought, I have a bit of that, but we're going to do it our way. First half, Germany were in control without having to do much too impressive. Got ahead with a penalty. Similar to Argentina's first half performance, really, apart from the offside goals. And in the second half, Japan said, nah, less of that. We're going to change things around. Manager, what he did was very smart. He put Tomiyasu on, changed to a 3 at the back, had some width on the side, and all of a sudden Japan were creating chances, getting in behind. And then the subs, Witsu Doan, Takumi Minamino, who I was surprised wasn't starting, and of course Takuma Asano, the hero. These subs all came on and made an impact. Overall, Japan's performance doesn't surprise me because I've always seen Japan as a really good team. They have a lot of technical, gifted players that are really good with the ball at feet, and they pass the ball around and they can create chances. Of course, the winning goal from Asano was simple Route 1 football. Free kick, straight over the top. Schlotterbeck was caught sleeping, caught napping. He went through and squeezed it from almost an impossible angle past Neuer. Like, it's one of those goals that get you up and scream, you know what I mean? All in all, it was a fantastic performance in the second half from Japan to turn it around against the Germans, who were caught lacking in the second half, really. They were in cruise control too much, and they couldn't really move out of that gear. Once again, a similar issue that Japan had, where they kind of cruised through the first half, got a penalty goal, and kind of switched off and didn't see the changes coming. Because obviously with Saudi Arabia, it was kind of like a continuation, and maybe you could say an escalation of the continuation of their system, where they were pressing them high. With Japan, it was just a simple change of formation. Germany didn't really counteract it. At the beginning, it looked like they kind of counteracted it by having the high press, but Japan found ways to infiltrate that high press. Overall, it was a really solid performance. Minamino came on straight away. Japan equalised. And Asano was making all kinds of runs in behind, along with Daichi Kamada. Like, overall, it was a really, really good second half from Japan. And I think a couple countries... In fact, the world will be put on notice. Japan almost did the shock to top all shocks in the last World Cup, where they were 2-0 up against Belgium and they couldn't let it slip. But this time they held on tight to beat Germany, and now they have a big chance of topping this group. We'll have to wait and see what Spain do against Costa Rica and what their response is going to be, because right now the group is in Spain's hands. But let's see what they do in their game. Wow. Spain went ham. 7-0 against Costa Rica. Now, who would have seen that coming? With Costa Rica's recent World Cup history, you would have expected at least somewhat of a spirited performance against Spain. But whatever spirit they had back in the day, that dog that was in them, back in 2014 when they found their way to the quarterfinals, it's gone. The essence is gone. The harsh reality of the facts is that Spain were too good and Costa Rica was so bad. They didn't have a single strong goal, for flip's sake. 7 goals. Ferran Torres scored twice. A whole penalty as well. Morata came on and scored. Soler scored. Gavi scored. Youngest ever player to score for Spain. I don't even remember the other scores off the top of my head right now, fam. It's actually that bad. What a performance. Spain have announced themselves. Now, we thought the performance of the week was going to go to England. But I can't lie, Spain might have pipped them with this performance. Of course, Iran, Costa Rica are two teams that you'd be expecting a lot better from, especially in terms of how organised and disciplined they are in defence. But England/Spain found a way to completely break them and completely dismantle them. Oh my gosh. I did not see that coming. 7-0? It was 3-0 at half time, and it got worse in the second half. Like, Costa Rica just couldn't touch them. Spain were just passing triangles all around them. Jordi Alba bobbing forward. Busquets completely running things with the assistance of Pedri and Gavi. And the forwards doing their thing up front. Asensio getting the goal as well. He's another scorer. It was a very good performance. Almost scored as well. I don't know if I've said all the scorers now. It was a performance that will definitely give Spain hope and confidence in doing real damage this tournament. Of course, we don't look at Spain the same way we've looked at Spain in previous tournaments. As one of the favourites, but Spain are still a team to be thought about. They can definitely be dark horses if they're not favourites in your eyes. That performance alone, although Costa Rica was so terrible, has probably, you could say, almost guaranteed their interest into the next round. Yes, I am being daring enough to say that. I might have jinxed it, who knows. But honestly, the way Germany played against Japan, if Spain put that kind of performance against Germany, who knows what could happen. But all in all, a very satisfactory result for Spain and a fantastic way to get their tournament underway. And for Costa Rica, boy, it's looking bleak for them. They've got Japan next, who are going to be on the high after beating. I think they got Japan next. I believe they got Japan next. Who are actually on the high right now. And then they got Germany at some point. It's not looking good for Costa Rica. It was a really bad performance and one where it just reeks of fourth place. But yeah. All in all, Spain were going to be so happy with that result. Costa Rica, not so much. Lastly but not least, we had Belgium versus Canada. I can't lie, watching this game, all of us must have been watching this game wondering, Belgium are going to cruise through Canada playing their first World Cup since 1986. It's the second time they've been here. Probably didn't expect too much from them, even though they do have pace and they do have Alphonso Davies and Jonathan David, who are two very, very good players. But the performance, I think, surprised us all. Canada dominated throughout the match. Of course, in the second half, they kind of lowered their tempo and intensity a bit. But there's a feeling after the end of this game, watching it, that Belgium were very, very lucky to get the victory. In fact, they robbed Canada. That's how good Canada were. They kept pressing and creating opportunities and had so many shots by half time compared to Belgium. It was crazy how, out of touch and, shaken Belgium were. And overall, it was kind of to see players like De Bruyne not even being able to pick the right pass or keep the ball. It was crazy. It pretty much summed up just how out of sync Belgium were looking. Lukaku wasn't playing, Batshuayi was up front. It's funny because obviously they had one chance, Batshuayi, one goal, just like that. And that's the difference between, I guess, Belgium, who are number 2 in the world, and a team like Canada, who don't really play these type of games, these type of occasions. The lack of finishing. Buchanan missed a couple of key chances. Obviously, the biggest chance of all was Alphonso Davies. I don't know why he was taking the penalty in the 10th minute. He shouldn't have been taking the penalty. I don't know why he was taking the penalty. It should have been Jonathan David, who was taking penalties before for Lille. In fact, he is, I think, their primary penalty taker. He should have taken the penalty and they probably would have been winning the game and probably it would have ended up a completely different way. But unfortunately, that wasn't to be the case. And they look at it now, it has best player vibes about it. Oh, he's the best player, he should take the penalty. Despite the fact he's never taken one before, Very strange decision from John Herdman. But, it's fine. If Canada can kind of copy and paste this performance to the next 2 games, then I'm sure they will actually have a chance of making it out of the group. It's just a shame that, Belgium were there for the taking. They put all that work in, all the energy in, and they were unfortunately unable to take their chances, and that's why they lost. Belgium had just one chance, took it. As sad and as cruel as it might seem to Canada, the first World Cup in a long time, to suffer this kind of misfortune, this is just the reality of football. but they have to look forward because there's a lot more positive to take from that performance, despite the fact that you could say they were robbed. Belgium will thank their lucky stars and they'll move on to the next game, hoping to continue to win games. It's quite ironic how, such an unconvincing performance was their record equaling 10th. I think it was 10th group stage win in the World Cup in a row. Very ironic, but I guess that's just how it works. It's just how it is. But all in all, I think that's going to be the end of day 4, the review. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll probably catch you tomorrow.
Mini Laje.